So there you are, minding your own business, having a grand old time practicing at your piano. And all of a sudden you get to that octave passage. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that you practice and practice and practice, but you just can't quite seem to get. The more you try, the more tense your arms feel. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to playing octaves, we have a big problem. And let me explain. Now, people have been trying to solve this octave problem for a very long time, and teachers have tried to come up with solutions to help their students to develop octave technique. Some people have said, oh no, what we really need to do is we need to keep the arm in a stiff position and we need to just isolate the wrist because octaves are all about the wrist. Still, other people have said, no, what we need to do is we need to move the whole lower arm hinging at the elbow like so. Other people have said, no, what we need to do is we need to have a really loose wrist, and that's the key. Still, others have come up with solutions like, well, actually, we just need to stay really close to the keys, and if we do this, then everything's gonna be better. But over the years, none of these solutions have really seemed to help that much or really solve the problem, because most people would say that after practicing in this way, they actually feel like they have more tension. However, back in the 1920s, there was this super brilliant piano professor by the name of Otto Ortmann who did all of these super interesting sciencey experiments. He was super fascinated with the musculature of the hand and the arm, and he wanted to know how it worked and how this could inform how we teach piano. And among other things, he took lots of high-speed camera footage so he could see what was really going on when people were playing extremely fast. And he wrote about all of this in a book entitled The Physiological Mechanics of Piano Technique. Now, Ortmann's book is certainly a very interesting but challenging read. However, he actually formulates a principle in his book that is the key to understanding octave technique. Now, Ortmann's principle is that when the arm is raised, the muscles that raise the arm don't have time to fully relax before the muscles that have to lower the arm must be engaged when playing octaves extremely fast. What this means is that we have opposing muscles that are going to be pushing against each other and slowly getting more and more tense. Now, Ortmann's principle is completely sound in that this is a physiological fact about the body. However, we know that there must be something else going on because of all of the great pianists throughout the ages who played octaves extremely fast without any kind of muscle fatigue. Now, this issue of having opposing muscles working against each other has probably been most notably discussed and written about by the British pedagogue Tobias Mattei, who discusses using an active upward motion, but instead of using an active downward motion where we push our arm down to the keyboard and thus have those opposing muscles, we're going to have a passive downward motion. So in other words, I'm going to let my arm fall back into the keyboard. So I'm going to lift my arm up, and then those muscles are going to release as my arm falls into the keys, and then I lift, actively and passively drop back into the keys. This deals with this issue very beautifully in that now I don't have those opposing muscles that are constantly working against each other, thus building more and more tension. Now, the only issue here is that if you've been playing octaves for many years, where you've been using opposing muscles and just building a habit of that tension building, it's going to be very difficult to develop this. And the way that I would suggest practicing this is first just starting on your lap. Actively lift your arm and then let it fall into your lap completely freely, and then lift your arm and let it completely fall into your lap. Once you get this and it feels really, really good, then you can move to the keyboard. But you can't immediately go fast, because if you do, you'll fall into old ways and you'll notice that you're starting to get tense again. So you want to very slowly lift and then drop into the keys, and lift and drop into the keys, and lift and drop into the keys. And if this is patiently and practiced well, you'll find that actually this will unlock amazing hidden potential when it comes to playing octaves.